Hey healers, welcome. I am live. Hi everybody. Can you see me? I'm triple streaming, so I got 1, 2, and 3. Hi sunshine. Hi sunshine. Oh, I didn't realize that I had an automatic comment on Facebook. That's not my Cash App anymore. My Cash App is rootchakragoddess. If anybody wants it. Hey y'all, welcome. Sunshine, stop biting me. This is my dog, you guys. Her name is Sunshine. Girl. Shh. I gave her a cookie and she thinks I'm holding out for more. She wants another cookie. Girl, sit down. Sunshine. Sunshine. Girl, I don't have no more cookies. I ain't got no more cookies. Sit. Sunshine. Yeah. So I wanted to go live with you guys today. This is kind of like a spontaneous spur of the moment thing, but we're talking about why your mentor is your mentor. I see that a lot of you guys jumped right in. So do you have a mentor? Let's chat. Why do you choose your mentor? Like, I really wanted to have this conversation because I've actually been dealing with some imposter syndrome. So I want to talk it out. Sunshine, no. Sit down somewhere, girl. She's so hype. She's so hype right now. She's so hype. Sunshine. Girl, what do you want from me? I gave you the cookie. There's no more cookie. That's the only cookie. There's no more cookie. I got no cookie, girl. What's up, girl? Sun is shining where I am at. Yay! You're in a different time zone than me. Way different. What up, y'all? Drop your city, drop your zodiac sign. Welcome to the chat. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I haven't been live streaming on Facebook and Instagram lately because of their censorship. So I'm on here because I have an audience here and I wanted to connect with you guys. You guys remember when I used to go live every day? Well, times have changed. So what I've been focusing on is my paid courses, my paid content. And I'm going to now be teaching you guys a free class starting this weekend. That's all about root chakra healing. So I've become a specialist in root chakra healing, which is one of the most important aspects of healing that you can get into within spiritual healing arts, because it has to do with your foundational stability on earth and your generational wealth and your ancestral healing. So some of you guys know that I channeled a healing system called Heaven on Earth Reiki that is predicated on channeling cosmic energy, your ancestral energy healing tools that your ancestors used, your cosmic starseed lineage, your past life memories. And sometimes it doesn't occur to me that this is not regular, everyday conversation and everyday material for everyone. So I create spaces within my containers where it is normal. It is normal to be psychically gifted. It is normal to experience possession. Experiencing possession is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Within the realm of spirituality, to be able to experience possession is a good thing. It's only in the Matrix ideology that experiencing possession is crazy and it's a bad thing. In reality, if you can do that, you're gifted, because everybody can't do that. Everybody can't take on the form of spirit. So it's important to have a mentor that can guide you, that can help normalize it for you and make it so that it's not so weird. So for me, I've done this and I'm still doing it, and I struggle with these things all the time. Like, don't ever look at your mentor like they're somebody that's above you or that you should put on a pedestal. That's dehumanizing them. So one of the really scary things about being a mentor, being a guide, and being a leader is being dehumanized and being put pedestalized and looked at as like you're above it, you should be better than everybody else, and you shouldn't have certain problems because you're only human. Everybody has the issues that they have. Everybody has the problems that they have. And for a lot of people in my community, myself and people that are drawn to me, um, sexuality, sexual abuse, gaslighting. Hold on a second, you guys. Sunshine, sunshine. What are you doing? Give me that. Leave it. Leave it. She's freaking out, you guys. All right, just calm down. So some of the things that, like, for my community that are really pervasive issues have to do with sexuality, sexual abuse, gaslighting, mental abuse, financial abuse, exploitation. Um, and when it comes to working with a mentor, a lot of those issues can get brought up. A lot of times these issues can get projected onto the mentor because it's easier to deal with them that way versus looking at the shadow itself. The reason why we project is because what we're looking at within ourselves, we can't handle looking at it within ourselves. So it's easier to look at it in someone else. The basics of shadow work is, looking at another person, like specifically a person that irritates you or that you have a challenging relationship with, or where something is coming up and you want to examine like what that is, because everything is us pushed out. So what you see in the world is coming from within your own third eye. You're creating it completely. And it gets really cool when you start to pay attention to the patterns of the colors, the numbers, the names. You can really break things down in a way where we're not supposed to see things that way, but it's our normal way of seeing. And so for me, that is my normal way of seeing. Like, I don't get like it doesn't excite me to see angel numbers or synchronicities too much anymore because they're so regular. Because that is the difference between living in the 5D versus living in the 3D. 5D and up. 3D, it kind of flattens everything, and it's more so like from point A to point B. One of the most beneficial things that mentors have helped me with is seeing the world in more layers and in more dimensions than just the 3D. And it helps to have a mentor to break these sort of things down for you. And sometimes, like, one of the things that's a challenge when it comes to working with mentors is feeling like threatened by their knowledge. So for example, like you're meant, like, say you go to somebody for spiritual work, okay? This person is highly advanced at spiritual work. So if they wanted to, technically they could do spell work on you. They could do spell work on you to make you keep coming back to them, keep spending money with them, spend more and more money with them. What is the difference between that, like between a predatory spiritual worker that is preying on you versus somebody that is genuinely creating for you, where it is beneficial for you? They don't have to do predatory spell work. They're doing attraction work. If you're working with a spiritual worker and they don't do attraction work, that's weird. That's weird. So there's a lot of things that, because the general public isn't aware of them, they'll project negativity onto the person that's doing them, when it's normal. If you're a spiritual worker, it is normal for you to be doing spiritual work for your business, for your clients, like to attract clients, to attract wealth. That is normal. So, and if someone's not doing that, that's not that normal. She said she's seeing diamonds. Pretty. So, one of the things on the flip side that is coming up a lot that I've noticed is like, what is the need for a spiritual teacher? So one of the things that I've been noticing a lot of, and I've been paying attention to is, for example, like there's a tendency that a lot of people have to um, befriend people who would normally be their clients. It's like you meet people and you're like, okay, this person is a perfect candidate for working with me. Like I know that I could help them. I have something that beneficial that I could offer them. But they don't take me seriously because I'm their friend, I'm their homegirl, I'm like them. So this is a thing, you guys. So for example, my homegirls that know me, that have been known me, the majority of them like wouldn't seek me out for spiritual work. Like some would. This is a thing. Okay, so I have like a group of people that I knew from before while I was learning my spiritual gifts and developing my spiritual gifts. You know, the people that know you in a certain light are not always going to be able to see you in any other light. So it's a much different light than the people that follow me on the internet that come to me for spiritual guidance see me in. They see me as a spiritual leader. My homegirls do not. My family does not. You know, those people, they don't see me as a spiritual leader. And so one of the things with imposter syndrome that I untangled for myself is like belief, like the validation of other people believing in you. I think this is one of the really medicinal things about becoming a spiritual guide is that like if you never had like enough validation, you know, you didn't have people listen when you talked, or they discounted your message, or they treated you like it wasn't important, it can be extremely healing and extremely validating for other people to do that. But it can also be addictive, and the spiritual ego is huge. To find a good mentor that is not completely consumed by a spiritual ego could be potentially challenging. And there's nothing wrong with holding on to that mentor when you do find them. So I've had a lot of different experiences with different mentors, and I think that it's easy to get caught up in a mindset of like being self-made and doing it yourself. And I certainly advocate relying on your own instincts and your own intuition and your own understanding. But working with a mentor and a guide quickens the process. And there are some passageways in which you need guidance to get through. You're not going to get through that passageway without an ambassador through those crossroads. And people will show up in your life at the times when they are meant to usher you through those crossroads. Certain people can do it, especially when it comes to things that they've already done. So, for example, I have a gifted coach that is a specialist in activating and awakening your multidimensional gifts, specifically womb consciousness, body consciousness. And within just one session with her, my spiritual gifts supercharge. If I'm feeling sluggish or I'm feeling down and I'm not able to tap in that well, if I go to a session with her, I am instantly reconnected. Okay. Now I have to maintain that connection. She can't do that for me. And one of the reasons why I stopped doing so much energy work and energy healing for my clients and started more so focusing on coaching is because a lot of times that's really all that is needed, is that the person can heal themselves, and they will if they're able to get into the right frame of mind and stay in the right frame of mind. And what I see over and over with people, like I see patterns because I work with so many people. So I can immediately speak to somebody and know instantly that my program will work for them. But the main problems are they open to being guided? Is it going to be like too triggering for them to be guided? Because people have trauma and they have triggers with teachers, with guides, that leads into the parental wounds, the sisterhood wounds, the authority wounds, all these things. And like as much as even I might strive to be non-hierarchical in my methods and not position myself as an authority, although yeah, I am an expert, but you are ultimately the sovereign authority on your own self, and I'm not an authority on you. I'm not your authority figure, period. not here to authorize things for you or co-sign anything for you. And even though I may make that explicit, that doesn't change the fact that there's a certain framework and certain traumas, sets of traumas that people were coming to me with. And so because I work with so many people over a long period of time, I can see the patterns. I have very strong pattern recognition. That's one of the reasons why I'm able to draw so many threads in between all these different seemingly disparate concepts and occurrences, is because I have really high pattern recognition. But now that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna I might miss things that might seem obvious. Why? Because none of us are omnipotent. We each have a piece of the pie, and I I don't believe in hierarchy, and I do believe that everybody's knowledge is just as valid as the next person's. And I also understand that I have an area of expertise that everybody doesn't have. I have the ability to channel and to speak on things that are not easily spoken about, especially for a woman like me. I have worked really hard to be able to open my voice, to ground in my safety, in my sense of self, to be able to do this without being too afraid, because it's the things that I'm up against that are very real threats that will not keep me from doing what I need to do and saying what I need to say. And there's no substitute for being in the presence of somebody who is doing what you want to do, who has something that you want, who has that energy already there. One of the things that a lot of people struggle with is relying so heavily on mentors and not being able to do the thing themselves. So, for example, people invest a lot of money in coaches, but then they're not able to make a return on that investment. They invest a lot of money in certification programs, but then they're not able to actually practice those modalities. So, it's really a confidence issue. And I have confidence easily because it's natural to who I am. So, one of the most important things about mentorship is being in the presence of somebody with that confidence, the confidence enough to teach and lead and speak and guide, especially on taboo topics. It's very healing. It's very healing to be in the presence of. Girl, what? No, sunshine. Sit. Sit, mama. Sit down. Sit. Sit, girl. Little girl, you want attention, mama. I don't wish you want to bite. You want to bite, little puppy bites. She's a little puppy girl. Okay, so I'm still learning how to be a puppy parent. So what's really crazy is that I know one of the reasons why I got her has to do with one of my mentors, because one of my mentors had a dog, Cassius. This dog was a boxer. He was so cute. He was the first big dog that I loved. I used to be scared of big dogs when I was a kid. But my mentor had this dog, and from being at her house and being with him, and this is the thing too, it's like when it comes to when you do spiritual work and you create a spiritual healing community, there's a couple things where like it's not a regular job. It encompasses all aspects of your life. It's constant. You don't just clock in and clock out. Like I could be anywhere doing anything and get a message that's downloading for one of my clients or for the collective. And it's not about me. It's about my position. There's things that I can say that certain people can hear from me that they wouldn't be able to hear from others. There's people that would be in my cipher that would not be in other ciphers. I come from a really logical background. I come from an academic background. I went to college. I don't think that college is that necessary, especially not in the current landscape. If I had different options, like I would have benefited from them. What do you have? For example, right now, what is that? Give me it. Sunshine. Sunshine. Um, no, I cannot. All right. Is anybody still here? Okay, so if I had different options, like say, for example, you have these kids on TikTok now that like they get a millionaire mentor, they're making millions of dollars before they graduate high school. We're starting to really see a breakdown in what seems possible. So one of the reasons why a lot of people want to kind of like skip those steps is because paying your dues and putting in hard work is not as attractive of a value as it once was. It doesn't mean the same thing. And like, it's not really, the new generation doesn't really want to do that. Like back in the day, people were fine with people were fine with like putting in those hours, fine with waiting 60 years for retirement. People are more impatient now. Working with a mentor can help you do that. But let's talk about like why your mentor is your mentor, because one of the things that I wanted to address is I've heard people so often like I want to address the disrespect of mentors, because I've heard people so often disrespect and discount mentors and discount their mentors. And so people will say things like, you know, this was my mentor, but now I really can't follow them. I really can't get behind them. So it's one thing, sometimes you outgrow people. It's time for you to move on. But sometimes, a lot of times, people are counting on their mentors to be these like omnipotent angelic figures that person can't be. And especially when the client student is ready to outgrow the mentor, or not really outgrow the mentor necessarily all the time, but outgrow the version of themselves that came to the mentor for guidance in the first place, then it's easier to like externalize that onto the mentor. um One of the things that I ask people is like, if somebody is like having an issue like that, like, you know, with a mentor or something, like I'm gonna ask you, like, is there something else that could be going on that doesn't have anything to do with this person? Like, for example, somebody that's like, oh, my mentor is hexing me, or my mentor is sending negative energy at me. This is a thing that comes up a lot. This is going to be like a really interesting area to explore, of like the spiritual like within the spiritual community, the way that people want to blame ancestors and like take their inner workings and put it out into the world onto other people. So like, for example, your ancestors are attacking me, tell them to stop. It doesn't work like that. You have to protect yourself from whatever else is going on. So if you have a mentor and you feel that the mentor is spiritually attacking you, the first thing I would do is like leave, get away from them. Okay, get away from them. So if you have a mentor and you feel that that mentor is spiritually attacking you, leave, get away from them. Don't stay around people that are spiritually attacking you. Why would you? Now, then, second, I would say, what else could it be? Like, what else could it be? Because, like, I'm not saying that would never happen. I know that there's a lot of predatory spiritual guides and people out there, but everybody's not a predator. And sometimes there are certain dynamics going on that maybe they just really had to happen. What's been really weird about the unfolding of my journey is that shit don't phase me no more. Shit don't phase me. Things that would have used to phase me, like, and take me out, don't phase me no more. And I use everything for my benefit. So even if somebody did mean something for harm, I use it for my benefit. And this is one of the tactics I teach of, like, how to harvest evil eye and harvest negative energy that's coming at you, and even harvest negative energy that you're sending out, and use it and use that energy for your benefit, because you're not always going to feel good and you're not always going to get love. You might get pure hate, and you can still use that energy and it can still benefit you. I had an experience with one of my mentors where she was my teacher. We were friends, and she asked me to she invited me into a threesome, basically. And at first I was like, I just wanted to hear more, because I was just like being silly and flirting and like, ooh, like just being myself. But then I got really, really triggered, because I was like, why are you trying to do this? You're my teacher. And her first answer was just like, I want you to feel the love. Like, I want you to feel the love. And I didn't feel like that was like what would, like, I feel like that was probably how she felt, but I didn't feel like that would have been what would have happened. And through the conversation, she started to realize, like, oh my God, people have been doing this to you since you were a child. Like, they've been wanting to sleep with you since you were a child. They've been sexually attracted to you and sexually attracted to your light since you were a child. And even though the incident was extremely triggering, it brought up so much. I'm not going to say exactly that it was inappropriate, because sometimes things need to get brought up. They need to get brought up. And there's no other way for them to get brought up but then to go through that messiness of life. So that can be a really scary position to be in, because, for example, like, she was my teacher. Like, I could have ruined her reputation. I could have like told everybody, like, oh my God, she did this, she said this. And I had no reason to do that, so I wouldn't have done that. Plus, I'm not really that kind of person, depending on what it is. But she and I had a bond. And when it comes to sexuality and spirituality and, like, leadership dynamics, it can be very sticky and very tricky, because there's past life trauma of pimping, of selling people, of using people. There's trauma from this lifetime of that. A lot of the things that I've been wanting to talk about, I'm struggling to talk about, because they're so deep, dark, murky, and scary, and they bring up so much from the basement of the unconscious mind. I'm doing a free class series starting this weekend that's going to be really like digging into it. So that's kind of why I wanted to go live tonight. Because I was just thinking, like, you know what, like, I really need to reaffirm my expertise. I feel like I love the way that I operate, because I can teach and lead and show through examples and through just like really simple and even crude use of my resources. Like, that's one of the things that I want to teach more than anything, is just start where you're at with what you have. Stop waiting for everything to be so perfect. Just show up. That's half the battle, is just showing up. And that's one of the hardest things. And it's pretty easy to like spiral if you're not careful, if you don't have anything to do and your energy is being used by other people. It's really hard to discern what's actually going on when you're in other situations. It's so hard with family dynamics and mentorship. The mentorship, if you're coming from toxic family dynamics, the mentorship can either affirm those toxic family dynamics and anchor them in place, or it can trigger the seeing and the knowing of them and how they play out. So that is, again, it's like one reason why it can be scary to be a mentor and to be a coach, because you're liable to get blamed for things that aren't really your faults, that don't have anything to do with you, or that could have been issues long before you ever met this person. But they finally have a safe place to bring these things out and to look at these things and to see these things. So it takes a really strong person to guide others and to lead others. And I think that a lot of people now, everybody's spiritual, everybody's having an awakening, everybody's tapped into the mysteries. Not everybody is called to be a spiritual teacher and a guide and hold that space for everybody. And it's a very big difference. And when you find those mentors who are equipped to hold that space for you, that's a blessing, that's a gift. The main reason why sometimes people will reject that or vilify that is out of self-sabotage. Having a mentor doesn't mean doing everything that that person says, but it means that you have found a person that gives you solid guidance that you can actually look to teach you and to lead you. And one of the hard things too is that, like, so there's two sides of it, because some people will prefer a person that is more like them or that they can see themselves in to learn from. Other people will not take that person seriously because they're more like them and they can see themselves in them. So if you don't see yourself as an expert or as a potential expert, it might be hard to see somebody that reminds you of yourself in that way too. That's why you just got to show up for your work. Like, you just got to show up for your work and don't let that stop you. It's really easy to be like, oh, nobody will take me seriously, they're just going to fetishize me. I hear that all the time from people in my community and in my constituency that are transitioning to spiritual work, where they're like, nobody's going to take me seriously, they just look at me like a big titty stripper bitch or big booty stripper bitch or whatever. The thing is that you have to take yourself seriously, and that is really hard because there's not that much incentive to do so. You get a lot of benefits from not taking yourself seriously and making yourself smaller, not really showing up. But one of the major reasons for not showing up is the fear of rejection. And that's definitely something that a mentor can help you with, because a mentor is there validating you, not rejecting you. If a mentor does reject you, it's a good thing. It's a really, really good thing. And that's another thing too. So a lot of people have come to me where they're like, my mentor canceled, canceled our relationship, or my mentor ghosted me, especially when it comes to the traditional religions, Ifa and Santeria and other religions like that. Like, I hear a lot of people say, like, my mentor ghosted me. The thing that a lot of people don't realize is that they're tapping into spiritual mysteries, occult science mysteries from all over the world. A lot of times these traditions are secrets and they're very sacred, and the mentor can potentially see something that you can't. So they know that you're not supposed to be working together, but you might not be able to see that, and so take it as rejection. That is pointing towards inner child wounds. Because that mentor, you just get a new one. You could just get a new one, but there's a scarcity mentality. There's the rejection sensitivity. And then there's also that sometimes we're replaying experiences that we've had in the past. So if you have something where you're like, this always happens to me, like, nobody ever listens, nobody ever understands me, I'm always the black sheep in the group, and I always get scapegoated, and I always get kicked out, and people can't stand me or whatever, like, always the problem. That's going to be a repeating pattern because your energy is conditioned that way. So you have to actually create a new experience. That's one of the reasons why scripting and manifesting, like literally writing out what you want to happen or pretending that it already has happened, it's so powerful because it's about actually creating into reality something that you didn't believe in before. What's she doing? Well, hold on a second, you guys. What? Okay. So I'm gonna end this soon because my puppy is wilding out and she needs attention. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Bless you. Bless you, mamas. Bless you, mamas. So I'm gonna end this soon. But there's one story that I want to tell. Okay, so I've made a lot of mistakes as a spiritual guide and a spiritual teacher, and especially when it comes to holding space for others. There was many times where I just couldn't do it. I literally just couldn't do it. And I didn't know how to have boundaries that would protect my position and protect my ability to do that. So I would have these intense ups and downs. Excuse you. Excuse you. Girl, let me give her a treat, you guys. So she'll chill. Come on, sunshine. Come on, mama. I'm gonna give her a ball. A ball. Get the ball. Get the ball, mama. Get the ball. So, go away. Oh, she brought a good girl. Good girl. She brought the ball. She's a good girl. Okay. So, um, yeah, I'm still learning how to be a good puppy mom, you guys. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, but like before we close, is like I have had a long road to being able to hold the space that I can hold now, and I'm such a genius with it. I'm such a genius with it. The way I've set up my community, so in my community spaces, all of my courses have a community component. So what this does is it basically creates like a sort of like it creates a safety nets. So, for example, any client or student that ever has any kind of issue with me, they have access to all my other clients and students that are part of the community. So they have someone to talk about it with. Because I can't necessarily hold space for people's issues with me. If it's something like, I don't like your opinion about XYZ, or I didn't like how you did this or whatever, like, okay, like I can't hold space for that. That's a nuance that everybody's allowed to have their own opinion about whatever. But what a lot of times what occurs is isolation. When there's like predatory spiritual community, there's isolation. So people aren't able to like talk with one another. They're only allowed to talk about certain things in a certain way. For our spaces, it's really important to be able to express yourself freely. I think that's one of the most important things in terms of root chakra healing is throat chakra healing. Being able to communicate what you need so that you can create that stability and that safety for yourself. And then to know that, like, one of the things that can happen with mentors, especially spiritual mentors, is that it can be threatening to deal with somebody that has that much personal power. I'm not trying to like make myself seem like I'm just like like this all powerful person, but I've worked on developing and refining my personal power. And when you have this much chaotic energy, it can be very scary to other people. So one of the things with me, like in human design, I'm a manifester. Basically, I have strong energy where people are scared of it because it's so strong. And they're like looking at me like, what's she going to do? We don't know what she's going to do next and we're scared. And so they'll try to contain me preemptively. So I have things where people will like, they'll say, they'll think that, they'll basically try to project that something is wrong and they need to do something. But really what it is like they're threatened by my power. I'm just so powerful. They're threatened by my power. So funny. Okay, girl, sit. She's always trying to she wants attention because I'm doing something. And she's a little bitey little puppy baby. You can't bite, girl, because everybody don't like that. And sometimes her bites, she be biting hard sometimes. Like, she's got my whole fist in her mouth right now. You can't teeth on me. Sunshine. You can't teeth on me. Here, baby. Get your bone. All right. She's really, really, really being impatient with me right now. So, get your bone, girl. Get your bone. Get your bone. Get your bone. I wish I could just pause this and come back and take care of her, but I can't. So I have to just do this right now. All right. Let her outside, do what she needs to do. Hi, Mama. Okay. She said, that's okay. You don't need to hold so much for others. You have your own things going on. Remember, you said don't dehumanize mentors. Yeah, exactly. So this is a thing too, is like, people people need to understand the boundaries that their mentors have that is needed to maintain that energy for the collective. Like, I work with a lot of people. I hold a lot of space for a lot of people, and that's fine. I didn't know any better. I didn't know how not to have to hold everything. Now I know, like, I have help in my business, I have support, I have systems, I have infrastructure. You can't deny the business aspect of spiritual business. It's a business for a reason. You have to organize it that way. It's not a charity. It's a community, but it's not just a community when it's your income. I'm naturally gifted at creating community. I'm naturally gifted at creating spaces where people can feel comfortable. That is Arab women's gifts. We naturally are gifted at creating spaces where people can feel comfortable, often at our expense. So that's been a huge thing that I've had to transform and to work on, to not create comfort for others at my own expense. Same here. My energy intimidates people, but I'm the biggest cuddle bug. Like, why you take texts on the phone so seriously? If I get angry and text about it in the phone, that's actually good for you. Okay, we're not gonna go there because, like, what a lot of women don't know how disrespectful they can be, and this is one of the reasons why, like, a lot of people have a problem with sometimes with my harshness that I might have. I deal with women, like, I work with women primarily, and a lot of women really don't know how disrespectful they can be. Like, um I've been there too. That's why I know about it. I'm 39 years old. Everything that I talk about, I know about. Like, maybe people don't want you blowing up their phone out of nowhere. Maybe that doesn't feel good for them. There's a certain level of selfishness that a lot of people operate from, and you don't even think about it, because if you've already overgiven so much and you've already taken your own power for granted so much and you've already diminished it so much for other people, then, like, out of nowhere you might just go a little fucking psycho. No one's gonna fix that but you. So it really does help to have something that you care about. For a lot of women, we're so infantilized. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story right now. So my teacher for my acting class, I went to the acting class. I love the teacher. And there's an older white man in the acting class who's, like, very, like, um in people's faces and aggressive with the acting. Like we're doing different like skits and sounds and stuff, and he's like very aggressive. And I find out that like a lot of people have quit the class because of him, because they didn't like him, they didn't like his energy. And so I was kind of like, and I was like really pissed off one day after class for how he had been acting, and I was kind of like wondering why the teacher didn't just kick him out. And I was thinking about pulling a Karen and calling and complaining about him, and and I didn't. I just waited it out. And what I learned was that the teacher was creating an inclusive environment, because if one person is excluded, everyone is excluded. So there would have been a time in my professional career, as a teacher, as a guide, as a professional community organizer and space holder, where I would have seen fit to kick people out. We used to have a rule on our app that was like, if like two or more people basically complain about a person, they're kicked out. We only had one person that we had to do that with, and it was a man who had joined our group. So yeah. um we never had to do that with anybody else. And thinking about it now, honestly, like there there's there's a huge benefit to being inclusive rather than exclusive. Alhamdulillah. Whew. Because if anybody's excluded, then it's not inclusive. So right now we're in this time where it's like, for example, with Palestine, so many people that I've talked to over the years have just assumed that like I'm in favor of a two-state solution. I First of all, I don't agree with borders, but if anything, I wouldn't agree with that. I would rather see the borders dissolved, and I would rather see an open space where everyone was included. And what's really amazing at this point is that I feel like we're gonna get it. I feel like we're gonna get it. I don't know how this is gonna look, and I can't believe it because I dreamed of this and I manifested this. I know a lot of us manifested this. The amount of work that Palestinians have done on our spiritual consciousness, are breaking our generational curses, is what is making this happen right now. So we're in a paradigm shift. There's no reason to play small and to cling to the old things. And one of the things that was happening in that class, where the teacher didn't kick this person out because he was bothering and intimidating others. So what had to happen instead is that, yeah, a lot of people left the class, and those who stayed had to boss up and be strong and not complain. And what we're dealing with in the culture as women is that like it's like you're more encouraged to like call somebody out and like claim that like you're a victim and show that you're a victim of another person, then you are encouraged to be victorious over the situation. So for me, you guys know, like, I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. When I was raped, I never even thought about pressing charges. I didn't even know who the hell the man was. I had no way to find him. It would have been too hard to find him. Not only that, I didn't want to face him. I wouldn't remember what he even looked like. And anytime I've thought about pressing charges or going through the legal system with any of these things, I always felt like this isn't going to give me the justice that I want. It's punishment for somebody else. It's not going to make me feel better. So for me as a mentor, like, I advocate doing things differently and finding the justice within yourself. And the justice for me is personal peace. So why your mentor is your mentor? Like, your mentor is your mentor. That's why they're the mentor. They give guidance that you didn't know you needed, because that's why they're the mentor. They know things that you don't know. That's why they're the mentor. When you try to get away from the mentor you have chosen, by vilifying or diminishing that person, or whether you're saying that they're harmful, whether you're saying that they don't know that much or that you know more than them. A lot of times it's all ego, or you think that that person is hurting you in some way, like casting spells on you or trying to drain your energy or something. Your demons will tell you anything to keep their position where they can actually drain you. You have to stay 10 steps ahead of everything. You can't believe everything you hear in spiritual work. And again, I'm not denying the fact that there are predators, many predators in this community and in this landscape. So you have to have ways to know the difference between a predator and a person that you can, like, just be normal with. Because when we're coming from toxic family members, it's like everything is a confrontation, everything is a backhanded compliment. It's, nothing is what it seems. So to deal with an actual straightforward person can be very triggering. And you have to come at them correct. You can't just do whatever. When you're dealing with a valuable person, you have to treat them like they're valuable. One of the things that a mentor can help you with is to stop caring so much about your reactions that you get from other people. Because when your creative expression is vilified by the people around you, what that's telling you is that you're not valuing your creative expression enough. They're giving you information. Don't cast your pearls before swine, and don't make everyone have to validate you according to how you think they should so that you can feel safe enough to speak. Respect your mentor, not how you think respect is, but how they think respect is. Look at the person that is further along on the path than you are and learn from them. To look at somebody and think you have nothing to learn from them is a mistake, a big mistake, and a missed opportunity. You often will attract what you judge. So if you see somebody that's like, you're like, oh my God, what's with her? You may experience what she's experiencing at a later point. The same person that you judge may be the same person that you look to for advice later on. You have no idea why people are going to be attracted to you, to learn from you, and to study with you. And it's going to have everything to do with either your authentic self or your inauthentic self. So the best thing to do when attracting soul aligned clients and students and mentees is to be as much of yourself as possible in all your different facets and your different incarnations, so that you can attract people where you can really be yourself. You don't have to put on a front, because that's exhausting. Think about a mentor who helps a lot of people. That's your mentor. You're one of potentially hundreds, even thousands of their mentees, because that is how it works. There's one person, there's a bunch of persons underneath them. Then in those each individuals, there's another bunch of people underneath them. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's just how these things work. It's a lineage. It's a family tree. Okay. And we'll cover more about how to be taken seriously and how to be seen as an authority and as an expert in your field. Not somebody's authority that tells them what to do, but somebody who is an authority on a subject matter that people can look to for guidance on that. We'll cover more of that later. So I want to tell you guys what's coming up next. I'm going to do a 5-day free class called Root Work. It's working on the root chakra. And it's my way of working on the root chakra in an unorthodox fashion, talking about taboo topics that within just these few conversations will transform your root chakra and take you from any lingering ancestral pain to excavating that pain and alchemizing that pain. So we're going to talk about the truth about racism, the truth about Reiki, the truth about slavery, and the truth about sex work. And we're going to talk about how all these things intertwine into root chakra healing throughout all of space and time. And then the 5th day is the truth about root lock. And I'm going to teach you guys in that class what we're doing in root lock and how it helps it clears the entities out of your root chakra, breaks the curses off of your root chakra, closes the root chakra, grounds it, and stabilizes it. People that have been in root lock in the past can attest to this. I made root lock lifetime access, so all my students from last year get free access. Again, we need you guys there to anchor in this space. You already paid your dues and now you're here, and so we're welcoming the next batch of people. The next cohort of people. We already have 3 people signed up this year, new. We're waiting to see who else. Actually, I think somebody else signed up. I haven't checked it yet, so we have to celebrate that. Yay, it's so exciting. So you guys watch my process. I'm going to be telling you guys more, but I'm doing this free class to teach you why what we do in root lock is important, as well as to like share with you my really controversial viewpoints that I could easily get canceled for, that people could take the wrong way. But these are areas of expertise for me that I have researched a lot and thought a lot and channeled a lot. And this informs my classes. And it's an approach that I don't really see anywhere else that can rapidly shift states for you. The thing that really, really shifts things quickly is one-on-one mentorship. It really, really shifts things quickly, but everybody's not ready for that. And it's best, in my opinion, to start with a group space and to start with a group class, because that way you have the supportive space of the other group members. You know that you're not alone. Sometimes it can be intimidating to be one-on-one with a person, really intimidating. But the foundation of the teachings is there. So when you work with me, you're getting introduced in an entirely new framework of doing things. And that shifts states very rapidly. You really have to ask your intuition and ask your guides before you work with a mentor. That's what I recommend for you guys to do. Like, don't just listen to what I'm advising and what I'm saying and, what I'm telling you. Before you sign up, ask your ancestors, is this right for me? Because they're going to know better than anybody. Your inner knowing is what's going to tell you who is a good, suitable mentor for you. It's not about like what they have that you want necessarily. It's like more about who they are to you and what they represent to you. And if they represent to you a sense of freedom and a sense of authority within self, that is a good mentor. That is a good way to go. You also have an influence on your mentor. You change your mentor. The healer needs the person that comes to healing to be healed. The mentor needs the mentee. We create for you. So I'm going to be going deeper into these teachings to tell you guys more, and also giving away 1 free access pass to Root Lock, my course. So make sure you stay tuned, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. boost that algorithm. Say mashallah, tell a friend to tell a friend, and stay tuned. Peace, healers. Masalama.